Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And seeing as the first month of 2023 is over, I'm going to bring you the 11 movies I watched this month. There's quite a bit of variety on here, but there are mostly first watches on here. Couple on here that I have personally, but of course this is like the start of a new year of movies, so you'll see probably gonna see 6 new releases on this list. The rest are from streaming. So without further ado, let's get started. And the first movie I watched this month was Megan. And I already reviewed this movie a couple weeks ago, so you can check out my full review and thoughts on that movie. But this movie really surprised me. And it's basically about this artificial intelligence android named Megan, which is short for Model 3 Generative Android. And this reminds me of the 2019 remake of Child's Play. And this movie is bonkers, but it's a really fun time. I had no intention on seeing it, but it's a really good start to 2023. So if you haven't seen Megan yet, definitely go check it out. The next movie I watched was A Man Called Otto. And this is the American remake based upon A Man Called Ove. So, A Man Called Ove is a Swedish novel that was adapted into a Swedish film. And the book is written by Frederick Bachman. And this literally tells the story of a grumpy old man who has nothing to do with his close neighbors, but a new family moves in across the street from him, and they kind of bring to basically solace, because it is explained that he lost his wife to cancer, I believe, 6 months prior to when this story has taken place. So this movie was really funny and really sad at some parts, but this is probably one of the best Tom Hanks performances I've seen in a while. And not to mention, it deals with a lot of dark subject matter like suicidal thoughts and grief. So it's a very heavy movie with comedic parts in it. And I'm currently going through A Man Called Ove right now. And I'm about in the middle part of it. So pretty much know it beat for beat since I've seen the movie. But this movie might be my favorite movie of the month. But that was A Man Called Otto. The next movie I watched was a rewatch of Smile. And I reviewed this last year as well. Very surprising horror flick. And it's basically about this curse that follows people around, and it smiles at them. So if you see somebody kill themselves in front of you, that curse is passed to you. But the only way to stop it is to kill somebody else. And this ended up in my top 20 films of last year. and it was definitely a fun rewatch. Smile. Continuing on, the next new movie I watched was Plane. Now, this was a really fun action thriller that stars Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter. And Gerard Butler is captain of a plane. So he's doing his duty, but then he runs into turbulence and he crash lands on somewhere in the Philippines, is what I'm remembering. But he comes into like the crossfire of like rebel soldiers. And this movie really felt like it was made in the 90s, but it's good. So this was another surprise that came out this month. Plane. The next one was The Whale. I finally got around to seeing this, and stars Brendan Fraser and basically his comeback role. And he stars as a morbidly obese gay man who is like an English teacher, and he is stuck in his apartment, but his nurse comes to help him, which is like his friend. Then he have like this, I guess I would call him like a Mormon person thing. And then he reconnects with his estranged daughter. So this is structured like a play. It's set in the course of 5 days. And on the 5th day, he dies. So this is a really depressing movie. And I can see like Brendan Fraser possibly win Best Actor for this role. It's going to be really close between him and Austin Butler and Elvis, but I wouldn't be mad at either of these two performances because both were great. But this movie was really, really good, but I don't see myself watching it that often. So, moving on, the next movie I watched was a movie that was definitely made in the 90s, Air Force One, starring Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. Yeah, that is right. But this stars, or I mean, it's about it's basically Die Hard on a plane, but Harrison Ford plays the president, and Gary Oldman is a Russian terrorist, and he just wants to kill the president. No, what I remember, he wants like a Russian extremist released from prison, and if this prisoner doesn't get out, he kills everybody on Air Force One. So it was a very tense thriller that is very underrated. So that was Air Force One. Next is my next new release, Missing. And I've seen many trailers to this movie, and I was very curious about it. So I finally did get around to see it. And I gotta admit, it was another good January release. So it's basically set through like the computer throughout the entire runtime. It's kind of like a murder mystery in a way. And this teenage girl is trying to find what happened to her mom, but she fears that her new boyfriend kidnapped her. Turns out that was not the case. There was a major twist in this movie that, like, went, what? But, another good January surprise. Go check out Missing. Next is a movie that I've been meaning to get around to. I finally did watch it on Stars, but unfortunately I was very disappointed with it. I finally watched Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. And this is basically the story about a group of Marines coming back from like Iraq in 2005. So the whole movie centers on this group of soldiers preparing for a return halftime walk during a major football game. But this movie does go back and tells the viewer what happened in Iraq. I really wanted a lot more war to this movie. It is a deeply emotional movie, but I just wanted more out of it. So this was just okay to me. So moving on, the next one I watched, and I just like literally watched this like Sunday. The Mule, starring Clint Eastwood and directed by Clint Eastwood. This movie was released back in 2018, and tells the story of like this old man who is an avid gardener, but he's not close with his family at all. So he does the impossible, and he gets a driving job, but he doesn't know what he's in for until he starts shipping drugs for the cartel. This was a really, really fantastic movie. I've actually seen it quite a few other times, but it's probably like my third or fourth watch, and I still really enjoy it. And this has a really stacked cast. I mean, of course, Clint Eastwood, Taissa Farmiga, his daughter, Allison Eastwood, Bradley Cooper, Lawrence Fishburne, Michael Pena, you name it. But this is basically like a crime thriller. The only movie that Clint Eastwood knows how to make. But that was The Mule. They got two more movies on here, and one I watched last night was Paparazzi. And this was an early 2000s thriller. But the stars like Cole Hauser and Robin Tunney. But Cole Hauser is like this very famous action star, and he's starting to get stalked by the paparazzi. And the main dude after him is Tom Sizemore. So he does everything in his power to get these people away from him. It's basically kind of like a revenge thriller also, because in the beginning, the paparazzi causes a car crash, almost killing his wife and son. So he gets everybody framed basically, and then kills them all. Well, except for like the main dude, he just goes to jail. But this is just like any other 2000s thriller. Predictable, but very fun. And the final movie I watched this month, I literally just came back from it, House Party. And I could have watched at least a couple more movies, but I just didn't have the time. But I decided to go with this one. But this is basically a soft reboot of the classic 90s franchise. And it's about it's about these two house cleaners who throw a house party, hence, at LeBron James' house. So, this movie was very tame. This movie could have been wilder, but this could have like passed off as like PG-13 as at best. So it was just okay. Do I really have to explain the plot? I just kind of did. So it's just hijinks. But those were all 11 movies I watched in January. Some very good ones, some middle of the road. And we conquered the first month of 2023. So I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, do my ending credits. But thanks for watching, and look forward to my review of Knock at the Cabin. I'm hoping to give that to you by the weekend. So at best, I might get it to you on Tuesday. But that's going to be my next video. And I also want to do my author spotlight here really soon. And I might start Rocky run through. Might do an Ant-Man run through. It just depends on how my schedule goes. But there's a possibility of having a lot of videos in February, because there's a lot of good movies coming out in February that I do want to see. So stay tuned for more videos, and I'll catch you in the next one. Adios. Peace.